Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Judiciary Committee hearing. My name is Carl Rhodes. I'm chair of the committee. This Zoom meeting and YouTube live stream event will include the following agenda. There's a 9:30 decision-making agenda. Members, there is a 10 a.m. agenda as well, but CPN is lead, and I believe that is a different link. The other members of the Judiciary Committee are Vice Chair Keo Kalole. Other members are Senators Ocasio, Gabbard, Lee, Kim, and Favela. As noted, this hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. You can find links to viewing options for all Senate hearings and meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. If you're interested in seeing the written testimony, you can go to the legislature's website, which is capitol.hawaii.gov, capital with an O. If there's a bad technical failure, we'll reconvene tomorrow at Tuesday, March 2nd at 10:30 a.m. via video conference, and we'll post a public notice. Hopefully that won't happen. Okay, let's see. We do have a quorum. Let's go ahead and, unless members feel the need to go into a breakout room, we can proceed with decision making. Okay. First up on the agenda today is SB 2623. This excludes from any waiting list maintained by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands any lessee or successor who sells or transfers their lease on attractive Hawaiian homelands. Recommendation here is to what's really a technical amendment per the Attorney General's suggestion. Will amend to make it so this act shall take effect upon its approval or as otherwise provided in Section 5. So as I mentioned, it's really technical in nature. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Kalole.
Members voting on SB 2623, the chair's recommendation is to pass this measure with amendments. Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Senator Ocasio.
Still couldn't hear you.
Reservation.
With reservation, so noted. Senator Gabbard.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up is SB 2679. This extends the renewal period from 2 years to 4 years for licensees who are 72 years of age or older. Recommendation here is to pass with an amendment. The stats seem to indicate that 70-year-olds in general are better drivers than just about everybody else. But I think at some point, the stats also indicate that it's hard to be a good driver, and the statistic on average, you're not as good. So a recommendation is to change it to make it so that applicants who are 80 years of age or older are still subject to the two-year renewal period. And I do have prior concurrence from the previous chair, who is Senator Lee, to go ahead with that amendment. It does have a bad date. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 2679, the chair's recommendation is to pass this measure with amendments, noting the presence of all members of the committee.
Which one?
Just a second. Are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, chair recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up is SB 2685 relating to the Planned Community Association. This establishes requirements for cumulative voting and the removal of directors of Planned Community Associations, exempt Planned Community Associations from certain requirements regarding cumulative voting. Recommendation here is to pass with some amendments. We do have prior concurrence. It's actually pretty technical in nature. So in regards to an assumption under the bill that the casting of votes against removal of a director being cast for the class to which the director belongs, make the assumption mandatory by changing may to shall. And that's it. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 2685 SD1 passing with amendments. Again, noting the presence of all members of the committee. Are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2707. This requires the employer to initiate negotiations on repricing of classes within a bargaining unit within 30 days of its receipt of the exclusive representative's written request to negotiate. Recommendation here is to pass as is. Questions or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 2707, recommendation is to pass unamended. Are there any noes or reservations?
Reservation.
So noted. Reservations for Senator Ocasio. All other members vote aye. Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is SB 3373. This clarifies the deadline for submitting written protests that are based on the content of the solicitation. Senator Kim, we had what we think is a technical amendment. We just wanted to add a section. So it would be line 1, page 1, line 13 would add 103D-304. Okay, you okay with that? Okay, so that's the recommended amendment.
Chair, the prior
Yes.
committee was GVO.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Okay, I don't have prior concurrence then. We'll just go with as. We'll go with a bad date. Just
It should be okay. I mean, it is my measure, and so we went working with the CPO procurement officer. I believe that's her amendment.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I just don't have I'm
Okay.
not going to. I'll just put a bad date on it, July 30, 2075. We'll move it forward. But
That's fine.
we can note it for later. Any other concerns or questions? If not, Vice Chair, with an amendment.
Members, this is SB 3373 SD1 passing with amendments. Again, with all members present, are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2711, specifies additional exceptions under child labor laws to include certain work-based learning programs. Recommendation here is to go ahead and let's see. Yeah, it has a defective date, so we'll go ahead and move it forward unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 2711 SD1, the recommendation is to pass this measure unamended. Members, are there any reservations or no votes? Chair, recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is SB 2777. This requires pat downs and searches of female inmates be conducted by female correctional facility employees instead of men. Recommendation here is to pass as is. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Keokalole.
Members, SB 2777 SD1 passing unamended. Are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thanks, members. Next up is SB 2780. This updates the list of federal agencies whose law enforcement officers may make certain arrests for certain state offenses. This is housekeeping, basically, to keep up with the changing. It's not just name changes at the federal level, but the reorganization of federal law enforcement agencies after 9/11. So recommendation is to pass as is. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 2780 passing unamended. Are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is SB 2804 for purposes of the Department of Health. This is the one that redefines what a pool is. We heard it a while back and there was no testimony. And now there is testimony, so we have technical amendments and that's it. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 2804 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Members, are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is more complicated. This is SB 2835. This prohibits health insurance companies from not denying coverage on the basis of gender identity if the policy covers the treatment for purposes other than gender transition. That's the big point. Recommendation here is to pass with some amendments. I do have prior concurrence from the previous chair. We'll add language stating that this act is not subject to a sunrise review, and note that in the committee report. To ensure that the bill is not setting forth a new mandate and to conform to the opinion of the Department of the Attorney General that a prior similar bill on this topic was not a mandate, We'll delete language that changes the way a healthcare treatment or service is determined to be medically necessary. And we'll adopt the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission's clarifying amendments that the references to a person's family member is to a person's transgender family member, and delete amendments to the existing definition of actual gender identity and perceived gender identity. Also, we'll replace in several places language about the treatment being considered a medical necessity with language prohibiting categorical exclusion of gender affirming treatment. And we'll add a title to the act that is known, and to make it known as the Gender Affirming Treatment Act. And we'll also put a bad date on July 30, 2075. Okay, if you could follow all that, get an A for acuity. Any questions or concerns? Okay, if not, Vice Chair for the vote.
Members voting on SB 2835 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Again, noting the presence of all members, are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2877. This allows a landlord or landlord's agent to charge an application screening fee at the time a rental application is processed, caps the amount at $25, and prohibits fees to be charged for each member of a household, requires the landlord or landlord's agent to provide a receipt, and requires the landlord or landlord's agent to return any unauthorized fee amounts to the applicant. So if you don't actually do the application, or if the application process doesn't cost as much as the $25, you have to give the money back. Recommendation here is to put on a deadline for returning any fees that the landlord is required to return, and we'll make it a 30-day period that you have to turn back the fees if any are necessary. Okay, questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 2877, passing with amendments. Are there any reservations or no votes?
Reservation.
Reservations for Senator Favela. All of the members vote aye. Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is SB 2913, requires a retail establishment with an employee toilet facility to allow a customer suffering from an eligible medical condition to use that restroom during normal business hours under certain conditions. Apparently a number of states already have this law, like 15 of them, so it's not as, I admit I was a little surprised, but I think it's probably a good thing. The recommendation I make is to change the legal standard of care to negligence. There's a carve out for businesses who allow this to say they have to be grossly negligent. The reason I'd like to change it back to negligence is because these are employee toilets and they're under a negligence standard to maintain those facilities anyway. So I don't believe they're giving up anything from a legal perspective. And then we'll put in the committee language, the committee report language, that the duty of care to an employee, which is the bathroom that this class of people would be able to use, is also negligence. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 2913 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you very much. Next up is SB 2944. This prohibits the use of important ag lands and lands with Class A or B productivity ratings for waste disposal. Our recommendation here is to pass as is. Any concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 2944 SD1, passing with amendments.
Nope.
I'm sorry, passing unamended.
Unamended, yeah, unamended.
Right. Are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2974. This updates the membership of the Advisory Committee on Pesticides to replace representatives from the sugar and pineapple industries with representatives of the coffee and diversified ag industries. Recommendation here is to pass unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Keokalole.
Members, SB 2974 SD1, passing with amendments. Are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. Next up and finally on this agenda is SB 3023. This allows the Real Estate Commission to revoke or suspend a license or fine a licensee for advertising, promoting, representing, receiving interremuneration or offering for rent any transient vacation units and whole home short-term rentals unless the unit or rental is permitted by the relevant county. Recommendation here is to go ahead and pass it unamended. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, this is SB 3023 SD1. The recommendation is to pass unamended. Are there any reservations or no votes? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members. That brings us to the end of this agenda. We have, as I mentioned before, we have another one at 10 joint with CPN, but I believe the link is the CPN link. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.